Hello, thank you for joining me, Caroline, for some yoga today. We're going to work from the crown of our heads, the top, all the way to the toes. So we're going to try and stretch out every little bit of the body just generally through sun salutations and movement. So we can relax the muscles and stretch the muscles out. And once the muscles and the ligaments and the body feels relaxed, we're able to switch off a little bit, which is the main goal of yoga. The main purpose of yoga is to quieten the mind. And so it becomes a lot easier if the muscles are feeling soft and light. And we'll work on the breath as well. So let's come to start with our feet hip distance apart and to track our big toes under our hip bones, so the iliac crest just here. So you'll feel the hip bones at the front of the pelvis here, and we're looking for the big toes to be roughly underneath just that point. Have a softness in the knees, so try not to lock the knees. Make sure the feet are parallel, the toes are pointing forwards. Rolling the shoulders up, back and down, and finding that length in your body. Maybe closing down the eyes. Tucking the chin just a centimetre or two, and that's going to make the back of our neck a little longer. And starting to breathe in and out through your nose. Bringing the hands to the belly. And starting to direct the breath into the belly. And then gently moving the hands to the rib cage. And breathing into the hands here. So we're expanding our lungs. Breathing into our lungs, which expands our rib cage forwards, outwards, and towards the back of our body. And then slowly bring the hands to the upper chest, so just below the collarbones. Breathing into the hands here. Gently bringing the hands back down to the sides of the body and taking 3 breaths, direction to the breath into those 3 parts of the torso. So into the upper chest, into the lungs to expand the rib cage, and into the belly. And noticing how those parts of the body deflate, shrink back as you breathe out. Gently tucking the chin, opening the eyes, and bringing the heads back up to center. So it's really important to ground ourselves to begin with before we start a yoga practice. And focusing on the breath really helps that. So we're going to try and keep that lovely, long, even breath we've cultivated throughout this short practice today. But to begin with, we're still in our mountain pose, standing tall. We're going to take a look over our right shoulder. So gently turning to look over the right shoulder. Breathing in to come back to center. Breathing out to look over the left shoulder. And coming back to center. And then we'll take the right ear to the right shoulder, just a really gentle movement. So we're allowing the muscles to soften naturally. Coming back up to center. And dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. Coming back up to center and taking a breath here. We're going to very gently twist. So using the hands, you can maybe take the hands out to the side if you've got enough space, or keep the elbows bent and tucked in. Breathing in, breathing out, and turning all the way from the waist, the hips, up to the crown of the head to look over your right shoulder. Coming back to center and turning to look over the left. So we've twisted the neck gently, and now we're coming into the spine. And then coming back to center. We're going to roll our shoulders up, back and down. We'll do this 5 times. Bringing the shoulders all the way forwards, all the way up, and all the way back. So it's almost like we're trying to pull our shoulder blades apart and then bring them back together. And gently coming back to center. Just changing the stance now, maybe bending the legs a little. We're going to clasp our hands behind our back and reach down towards the floor. So we're creating some space in the shoulders here, stretching the pectoral muscles. Taking the hands away from you if that feels okay. And then gently releasing just there. We'll bring the left hand across the body and gently hold onto the upper arm. So we'll bring some movement to the shoulder joint, upper shoulders here as well, into the thoracic spine, which is the top of our upper back, in between our shoulder blades. And then bringing the left arm straight across. And gently releasing that. We're going to start moving the pelvis and the hips a little. You might want to take a slightly wider stance now. The toes are still pointing forwards. There's still a bend in the knees. And we're going to make some figure of 8s with the hips. You can make them as wide, as deep as you feel you want to. So if we sit a lot, you might find your hips feel quite tight, or if you've been running, walking, cycling, any activity, can have quite a strong effect on the hips, the hip flexors. Really good to be able to release them. And it's also linked to the lower back as well. Moving in the opposite direction. And coming back to center. We'll take our first forward fold. So just remembering we want the feet to be hip distance apart, the feet are parallel, toes are pointing forwards, and we're aiming to fold from the hips. So we don't want to collapse the lower back. We're trying to find some length in the lower back. If we fold from the waist, you can see the lower back just rounds. So I always describe it to teach it that we're leading with the heart coming forwards. We'll raise the arms as we breathe in. So finding your strong standing position, breathing in, reaching up, breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the heart. Once you get to your comfortable position, so making sure the knees are a little bit bent if the hamstrings are tight, allow the head to relax. You want the crown of the head to move towards the floor. And wherever the hands are, either bringing the fingertips to the floor or holding opposite elbows, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. So if the muscles in the back of the leg are tight, this can be quite a tough pose to practice. And the key is to bend the knees. We still want the sitting bones reaching up for the ceiling, but that will really help. Bending into the knees, remembering that lovely word ahimsa we have in the Yoga Sutras, meaning kindness and compassion. So that starting with ourselves and our body, looking after ourselves and giving a little bit of thought to the body and how we move. We're going to bend into the knees a little bit more to come up. So breathing in to really power through the feet. We're going to reach back up to the sky and bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. So we're going to come into a very simple version of sun salutation today, very basic version, which is lovely for stretching around the hips and stretching the legs. And then we'll come down to finish with some more breathing. So making sure wherever you are practicing today, you've got enough space to step back. Coming to feet hip distance apart, feet are parallel, standing tall, maybe tucking the chin a couple of centimeters to lengthen the back of the neck. We're going to breathe in and reach up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Coming into our Uttanasana, our forward fold. As we breathe in, we're going to bring the hands to the shins, shoulders away from ears. We're coming into a flat back position. Breathing out to fold all the way forwards. We're going to breathe in to step the right foot back, and we're dropping the right knee. So we've come into a lunge position. We want the left knee to be above the left ankle. Draw the shoulders away from the ears here. From here, we're going to step back into plank, so tucking the right toes under, bringing the left foot to meet the right or become parallel with the right. Know that you can come onto your knees if that feels more comfortable today, making sure the fingers are spread, hands are flat. And then dropping the knees, coming all the way down. We'll come into a very small baby cobra. So the hands are under the shoulders. You might want to reference the shoulders with your hands. Make sure the hands are spread. The elbows are tucking in. They're going to hug the rib cage. Breathing in to slowly come up. And making it a baby cobra. It doesn't need to be a huge back bend. Just gently stretching out the body. And then slowly coming back down. Tucking the hands back towards the chest and the toes under and coming into our downward facing dog. So we want the sitting bones to be reaching up to the ceiling. There can be a bend in the knees. The arms are straight and the inner elbows are pointing in towards each other. Hands are flat, middle fingers are pointing forwards. From here, we're going to bend into the knees. We're going to bring the right foot forwards, drop that left knee. Back into our runner's lunge, and then we can really power through this right foot. So pushing into the right foot to bring the left foot parallel. Back into our forward fold. And we're going to bend into the knees a little bit more. We're going to power through the feet to reach up to the sky and bring the hands back down to the sides of the body. We'll do that all over on the other side with the left foot. So take a moment, reset everything. Feet are parallel, toes are pointing forwards. Standing tall, tucking the chin a couple of centimeters, reaching down with the fingertips. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Have a little bend in the knee as much as you need. Uttanasana. We're going to breathe in, bring the hands to the shins, shoulders away from the ears into our flat back. And breathing out, folding forwards. This time we're stepping back with our left legs, stepping back with the left knee, leg, dropping the left knee back into our runner's lunge here. Making sure the right knee is over the right ankle. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. From here, we're stepping back into plank. So either on the knees or the toes, make sure the hands are spread. The middle fingers are pointing forwards. Inner elbows pointing in towards each other. And then dropping the knees, coming through down the chest. Gentle cobra, hands are under shoulders, coming up, making sure the elbows have touched right in to the rib cage. Coming down, breathing in to reach up into downward dog. So tucking the toes, sitting bones coming up to the ceiling. So adjusting where you need to, but making sure the shoulders are drawing away from the ears. It's almost like you're trying to reach the thighs with the belly. From here, the left foot is stepping forwards. Bent knee, dropping that right knee there. And then we'll power through the left foot to bring the right parallel with the left. Bend into the knees to power up, breathing in, reaching up, and breathing out to bring the arms back down to the sides of the body. So just through those few movements, that simple sequence, you've stretched out most of the body. We're going to do a lateral stretch now, lying down. So very simply, lying down on the floor and thinking about our mountain pose when we're standing up. So that's this very similar position lying down. We're going to take the right foot out towards the right, and then we're going to take the left foot out to meet it. And what we want to try and keep it down is the pelvis. We want to keep the pelvis and the hips grounded. From here, I'm going to raise my left arm and take it round behind me. Maybe have a bend in the elbow, or reach a little bit further over to the right hand side. And I've shuffled my neck, my head that way as well. So I call this banana pose. And you'll get a little bit of a stretch on the left side of the body. We're massaging internal organs here as well. And then gently bringing that left arm back down to center, recentering, and then taking the left leg out to the left side, allowing the right to meet it, shuffling the head, the neck towards the left a little bit more, and then raising the right arm to reach behind you. Maybe there's a bent elbow, so just working with your shoulders today. If the shoulders are tight, a bent elbow is going to be a little bit more supportive to your body. Keeping the pelvis grounded. And then gently coming back through to center. We're going to bend the knees, have quite a wide stance between the feet. The toes are still pointing forwards. So we're parallel with our feet. The knees are tracking up towards the sky. The hands can either be out to the side or they can be palms down, just giving you a little bit maybe support. And we're going to gently windscreen wiper the knees. So taking them down to the left, bringing them back up to center, and then down to the right. So the feet are just rolling onto the sides as you gently windscreen wiper the knees. It should be gentle enough that you don't feel any pain in the lower back. If you do, just stop and give the knees a hug. Making this your last one, coming back up to the center and coming into Apanasana. So the hands are on the knees, the fingers are pointing towards the feet, and we're gently drawing the knees in and then letting them go. So 2 or 3 hugs here. We're stretching out the lumbar spine again. And I said at the beginning of the class, we would stretch from the top of crown of our head to our toes. So bringing the feet to the floor, hands down either side of the body to support you. We're going to raise the right leg and give the ankles a circle in both directions. And you can point and flex the toes. So just working with those movements for your body, you might find the pointing and the flexing feels more beneficial, but making sure you do a few circles in both directions. Dropping that right foot down and coming over to the left-hand side. Pointing, flexing. And gently taking some circles with the ankle as well. And bringing that foot back down to the floor or the mat where you're working. We're going to come into some breathing now. Keeping the knees bent, that's absolutely fine. Keeping the feet parallel. Allow the shoulders to soften into the floor. Bring the hands to the belly. Maybe closing down the eyes, reconnecting with the breath. And we'll finish with 3 deep inhalations and 3 deep, long exhalations. And if it feels comfortable to do so, you can sigh the breath out. So breathing in and breathing out. Maybe keeping the eyes closed, but taking time to roll over onto your side. Use your hands to push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Finding that length in the spine all the way to the crown of the head, and bring the hands together to heart center, joining both halves of the body together in Anjali Mudra. Taking a moment to notice how it feels to have spent just a short time stretching the body out, lengthening the muscles, the ligaments, the connective tissue, massaging the internal organs, connecting with the breath, and hopefully quietening the mind. I'm going to take my hands up to my forehead to remind us all to have kind thoughts, to my lips to remind us to have kind words, and back down to my heart center to remind us all to have kind actions. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me again today. If this is your first time and you enjoyed that short session, please do click the thumbs up and maybe even click the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. I'm generally uploading classes and sessions most days at the moment, so there's a lot of material there for you to use anytime you feel you would like to practice some yoga. I look forward to seeing you again soon. From me, it's goodbye from now.